Welcome to another hsextra.com high school football video. We are talking with Page High School Pirates head football coach Doug Robertson about your game this week with Reidsville High School. Thanks for joining us, Doug.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Joe.
You're going back to Reidsville on Friday night for regular season game with the Rams. I know that's something you and Jimmy Teague, the Rams head coach, don't like to do, don't like to go against each other except in scrimmages. How did this kind of come about?
Well, the bottom line is nobody wants to play Reidsville a whole lot on the schedule, to be honest. And unfortunately, nobody wants to play us either for some reason. I think I was gladly to share our film from last year. If people would look at us a little bit, they might want to play us. So, but I think the Page name and the Reidsville name carries a lot of weight, regardless of records of last year, and they know that we're capable of being a good football team. So I think it was one of those cases where it's two teams that's hard to schedule, finding people to schedule. So why not schedule each other? It makes sense. It's kind of a 29 corridor type thing. We went to Dudley last week. Now we're going to Reidsville, and it makes a lot of sense. It's two storied programs that should be played probably. And I think the gates will be good. So financially for both schools, I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yep. How hard is it to prepare for a team coached by people you know so well and people who know you and some of the folks on your staff so well?
Yeah, we actually have talked, when you put the film in, obviously they're good. They always will be good every year, but you just look at it as another team on the schedule. I mean, it's when it gets down to it and you look at film, you're preparing for a team, and then you get to the game. It's just another team that you're facing against. Obviously, it's a little bit different for me. Never been on that sideline during a regular season or a playoff game facing them in a varsity game. That's going to be different. I'm going to have surely a lot of emotions to start with, but once we get going, it'll be just like a normal football game, and both teams want to win and very competitive.
I know you don't want to go too deep into the personal side of it, but it is a unique situation for you. Will you talk with or have you talked with Coach Teague at all this week, or is it one of those deals where you're going to wait until after the game Friday night and talk on the field and this is game week? No,
we actually talk. We actually eat every Sunday night. Our families meet every Sunday night and eat. We did it the same way this week. So we actually work on Sunday to get prepared for each other, then we go eat dinner that night. So no different. I think it's a lot more fun for you guys and the fans to look at it that way, but we're just best of friends and think a lot of each other and have a deep respect for one another and their coaching and how their teams play. I think that's what it comes down to. And we'll be friends. We'll compete hard during the thing. We both want to beat each other, but at the same time after that, we'll be friends and we'll eat again this Sunday night.
You talked about Reidsville's always going to be good, and they are. Obviously, they've won 4 of the last 5 NCHSAA Class 2A titles. The one they lost was in overtime. What do you see when you look at this year's Reidsville team on film? I know they had a fantastic senior class that finished up in the spring, but they've got talent still, don't they?
Yeah, they do. They got good receivers in number 1 and number 3, and then a quarterback's probably going to be as good as anybody that's came through there eventually. He's still a sophomore, but is already making big plays for him. And
that's Al Lee.
Yeah, Al. And, that's their defense hasn't changed at all. They fly around and they get to the football. They're not necessarily your prototypical big people, big size defense. They play a lot of smaller guys that are very fast, and that's how they win. And it certainly looks a lot like a normal regional team. Obviously they had to replace some people, but they replaced them with really good people. And, the way it works for them, they've beaten people so bad at times. Those guys have had a lot of experience regardless of their years. So you're still playing guys that are experienced, even though they may be young in their years. So it's definitely a formidable test for us. And it's another good measuring stick for where our program has gotten to, hopefully.
We talked just now a little bit about all the people that they lost from last year, and I know Coach Teague was a little concerned this season about all the guys he lost up front and them being a little bit smaller. Is there ever a good time to catch Reidsville? Is this maybe as rebuilding as they've been in a few years?
Yeah, I think this is, obviously they're developing, trying to figure out who their team is, probably in a lot of ways, just like we are, and a a lot of people. The thing about Reidsville that helps them is they're an established program, so pretty much their guys know their roles, and that's what you kind of see. I'm sure they won't be exactly the same team they will be in week 5, let's say. But I think, yeah, I mean, if you want to play a team at any time, I think early and they're young, I think that probably is an advantage to you. But, you know, obviously last year's team was a special one, but I think this team eventually will be special as well.
You talk about young teams. Your guys are still very young. You're coming off of an 18-7 loss last Friday night at Dudley. Had a bunch of opportunities to make that a one-score game in the second half. Just couldn't quite get that one play you needed. What did you learn about your team in that game?
I think we've learned how to compete against good people now, at least for one game. Obviously, we got to prove that again at Community Stadium this Friday. But I think our guys have passed the point where, you know, we feel like we can compete, which is nice. Now we got to learn how to win those games, you know, and, you know, we spoke of Reidsville's youth. We only have 10 seniors. So that really is not a whole lot of advantage to us as far as versus Reidsville, because we're the same boat. And we're also young in our program and developing our culture at Page the way, you know, Doug Robertson kind of wants to do things. And it's taken some bumps in the road. We've lost some kids and gained some kids from it. And we're trying to mold this team into a union. And I think what you saw last week was a team that's come together pretty quickly to be competitive against, you know, I think Dudley, there's a lot of polls are not ranked number 1 in 3A. I think that says something about what our kids have done so fast, and our staff, you know, my assistant coach is doing a great job coaching those guys and get them to believe that not only we're going to compete, we have a chance to win that game. And now we got to go out and compete and learn how to win a game.
How tough is the schedule that starts with trips to Dudley and Reidsville? And then as a reward for your home opener, you've got Mount Tabor, the 3AA spring champion.
Yeah, you know, you can't bear around competition, you know, and then I think what it does is get you ready for Southwest Guilford, our first home game, our first home conference game, our first conference game. And hopefully we're battle tested. Hopefully we can win a couple of these along the way, but if not, you know, we played against good competition. We found where our holes are, and by Southwest Guilford, hopefully we've got our team that we think is going to compete for a conference championship out there, and that's what the teams like Dudley, Reidsville, and Mount Tabor have allowed us to do.
What do your guys need to do Friday night up at Community Stadium to come out of there with a win? I mean, I know that's what you're going up there for.
Yeah, we're going to win. I think a good start. I think Reidsville is a fast starting team. They can get you down early. I think Western Alamance did a good job of that. But then you have to maintain and sustain because they're going to keep coming at you. So understanding that it's a 4-quarter game, we got to play 4 quarters of complete football. I think we have to establish the run, but we also have to be able to throw the football, which we didn't do a great job of against Dudley, which allowed us not to mix it up so much. And so we got to have a good mixture of offense. And then defense, we got to continue to get better. And with their athletes, their screen game and their outside run game, they get people in space really well. We got to tackle real well. I think that's a big key to the game too. We got to tackle.
Good deal. Well, we look forward to seeing that game on Friday night at Community Stadium. Thanks for taking the time to talk to us about it, and good luck Friday and the rest of the season.
Thank you, Joe. Appreciate it.